It's time for Down on the Corner with Dale Hoffman, North Arkansas's premier news talk program. Brought to you by Brood Awakening Coffee, with 3 locations to serve you. Baxter Regional Medical Center lobby, Highway 62 412 at Balmer Boulevard, and the Walmart East Plaza. And now, Down on the Corner.
Good morning, North Central Arkansas and Southern Missouri. It is Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018. It is 7 a.m. We have very foggy conditions this morning here in North Central Arkansas and Southern Missouri, but we hope your Tuesday morning is off to a great start. And we kick it off with Brood Awakening Coffee, right, Jerry?
Every day.
Every day.
Good stuff.
And so, good morning, Judge. County Judge Mickey Pendergrass coming on in. You got coffee over there, Judge?
Yes.
Yep, he's got coffee. Good man. South Scooter, how's Jerry?
Good.
Doing good, doing good.
Yeah. Did I hear Bob say y'all had track meet last night?
Yeah, we had a 7th grade track meet, and they let some of the junior highs in on it as well. So it's a good time.
Yep. Long night.
It wasn't too bad. We were done by about 6:30.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Sure.
we rocked it. We got it done.
That's not bad.
Run fast, huh?
Anyway, Brood Awakening Coffee, 3 locations to serve you in Mountain Home, Bomber Boulevard, BRMC Lobby, 62 East Plaza out by Anytime Fitness. The best coffee in town is Brood Awakening. You don't believe me? Stop by the studio here. We're at 1226 Commerce Drive in Mountain Home, or check out the 3 locations. Don't forget their cinnamon rolls and other good things from Brood Awakening Coffee right here in Mountain Home. If you're not drinking Brood Awakening, you're just drinking muddy water. All right? Right? How's your coffee?
It's not muddy water. It'll get you primed.
It gets you going, doesn't it?
You betcha.
Roller Funeral Homes of North Arkansas. Well, I'm just going to say Roller Funeral Homes of Arkansas bring morning prayer each and every day. Across the state of Arkansas, they serve you with all their respect, a lot of dignity there, and they want to make your service for your loved one. And so when the need arises, Roller Funeral Homes of Arkansas. And now let's pause for our morning prayer. Heavenly Father, it's amazing to hear reports of Muslim people coming to know Jesus Christ. Lord, I pray for revival not only in our own country, but countries across the world. And Lord, I pray for this Christian stance that it just goes away. And Lord, let's look at our history. Prior to 1964, before we knocked God out of the schools, violence, students all overall respected the teacher, and even TV commercials and shows had a father and a mother in the family, unlike what we have today. Lord, I pray you restore our family unit and restore our land. And that's my prayer today. Amen.
Amen.
Roller Funeral Homes of Arkansas brings morning prayer each and every day with all our respect. Roller Funeral Homes. Well, let's see what's going on at Gregg Farm Services, shall we? I don't know that we have it updated, so I don't want to. Let's see. Well, let's pull this up. Gregg Farm Services for all your needs around the farm, around the home, in the community. And be sure to check out the website, Gregg Farm Services, and see if there's anything special going on. Here we go.
Oh, there's my flower bed.
There you go.
I like
Ground
those.
contact and standing boxes range in price. They're 4x4, 4x8s, 2x4, 4x4s, $109.99, $159.99. all the way to $239.99 for a high quality flower box, raised or ground level ground contact box. Check that out at Gregg Farm Services. All your needs, fertilizer, seed, and anything you need, Gregg Farm Services.
But you can plant more than flowers on them.
I'm thinking
Oh,
garden
come on.
and that
That's-
sucker.
Yeah. Couldn't you probably use them for a couple of potato plants here and there too?
Yeah.
Couldn't you?
Yeah.
They're deep enough, yeah. Anyway, Gregg Farm Services brings you the weather each and every day. Gregg Farm Services on the farm, around the home, in the community. Gregg Farm Services. 51 degrees in Mountain Home. Look at Harrison, 65 already today. And that's not the highway number, that's the temperature.
Balmy.
Yeah, balmy. There you go. 47 at Hardy, 46 at Mountain View. It's 50 at Yellville, 46 at Marshall. Calico Rock checks in at 51 degrees. Boy, I bet it's foggy on that river this morning down there.
I guarantee
Ooh, don't you know? Around the region, St. Louis checks in at 46, Poplar Bluff at 48, Branson at 64, West Plains, Missouri at 52. In Watford City, North Dakota, I'm going to have to send my son a text say, hi, it's 51 here. It's only 12 where he's at in Watford City, North Dakota. I'm going to click off the temperatures here. Scooter, if we can put that box, this little grid This is what we can anticipate today. This is now Weather Nation TV. You can see the severe outlook for today. The yellow is basically a slight risk of severe, but the enhanced is that kind of orange-brown type of color right there from Cincinnati. May hit just the southern part of Indianapolis, comes down into Louisville, and comes across, basically the Ohio-Mississippi River valleys, following the Ohio River over Carroll, Illinois, and then down the Mississippi River to Memphis, Tennessee. So it's going to include places like Dyersburg, Tennessee, could affect Kennett, Missouri, Murray, Kentucky, Carroll, Illinois, places like that, and Evansville, Indiana. So there's your outlook for today's weather, and that's basically through about 6 p.m. And let's see, maybe late as 9 p.m. So current radars like this. We've got the radar, a lot of rain across Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York. A lot of the precip hanging mainly to the north of us, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, along with Nebraska getting some precip at this time. I'm going to take a look at that. Let's go into Ohio. We'll pick up the Ohio radar here and see what's going on across that part of the country. A lot of shower activity with some flood watches there just south of Fort Wayne. Come all the way into the Ohio and Indiana areas there. Tennessee getting some shower activity now. You can see that northwest of Nashville towards Clarksville and up towards Bowling Green, Kentucky on that radar stop. In Arkansas and Missouri, not much going on. I'm going to hit that Little Rock stop, Scooter. Right now, all highways in Arkansas seem to be clear. That's probably an enhanced radar loop right there that picks up a lot of that ground clutter. Interstates 30, 40, 49, 55, 555, and 155 in Arkansas are clear. 155 is in Missouri. Never mind. Did you catch that? 155 starts over around Haytime, Missouri. 62, 412 east-west looks good. 65 north-south Little Rock, Branson. 63 towards Jonesboro. Highway 67 towards Poplar Bluff, Missouri. And Highway 63, West Plains, Missouri, in good shape there. And southwest Missouri, well, we're going to hit all of Missouri. Let's look at that St. Louis stop. You can see the shower activity east of St. Louis there. Highways coming in St. Louis, 40, 55, and 70 look good there. Southwest Missouri. Ding, clear as a bell. How's that?
I like your bell sound.
Yeah, boys.
Ding.
Ding. And of course, the drought monitor looks good.
Oh, gosh.
There ain't nothing
Well, Judge,
on
I
it.
tell you what, first part of January, this was red
Yes, I know.
right here in Baxter County, Fulton, part of Stone, and the top part of Sharp. And then after some of that first round of rain came through, we were yellow, which is a D0. Washington, Benton counties, just the top tier of counties all across to Fulton, and now, of course, we're in good shape on the drought monitor. And so, anyway, Jerry, what you got?
How about some forecasts? Because they're talking
Well,
about,
yeah, it's a good idea. Why don't we look at that?
there's been a rumor of this S word coming up this weekend.
Scooter.
I heard it.
Yep, there you go. Look at that. We'll pull this up. This is a freeze warning.
This is not
Talking about
good.
smog or
Yeah, we'll go with small.
Yeah, we'll go with smog. That's good.
That's the way it
Okay.
looked down my way this morning.
It was coming
It was
in.
thick.
We've got a freeze warning for most of north Arkansas and southern Missouri. This will stretch Rolla to about Hot Springs. As far east as probably Imboden and Ravenden. And gonna get cold. Let's see if I can hit Baxter County in this little map here and see what they're saying about us for the forecast. Right now we have a freeze warning in this part of the country here.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, look at that, Jerry. This
That's
is
not
April.
good, man.
I'm going to hit that forecast. Let that load. Here we go. Freeze warning tonight and tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 53. Thursday, a high of 63. Friday, a high of 52 with 60% chance of showers. Friday night, it says showers likely, then wintry mix, a low of 27 Friday night. Saturday morning, snow, sleet, then mostly sunny with a high of 51. Can you believe that? Scooter,
That ought to kill
that
off
is
the
not
food.
smog.
That was the S word I was looking for.
Oh, that's
That's not even funny, man. If it's 28 degrees for 2 hours, all them fruit farmers lose their stuff.
I think I'd be building little campfires out there trying to keep stuff going somehow.
Good luck to them.
Man, well, they call them pots smudge. What do they call those things? You know, Go out there and build fires in those orchards, keep the blooms from freezing.
Yeah. If they got them.
Boy. Anyway, there's your forecast right there. Snow on Friday night. That's what we don't need.
Lord.
Anyway, community calendar. Jerry, what you got?
Wednesday the 4th, you have the Community Career Expo at the Shed from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thursday the 5th, our local radio station KCMH is having their donate-a-thon. It's called Share-a-thon.
Oh, yeah.
2018. So be sure to give to them. They're a mighty fine station. Good people, too. I love them. Friday the 6th.
What does KCMH stand for?
Christian Mountain Home.
Keep Christ Most High.
Well, there you go. Keep Christ Most High. Friday the 6th, you have the CCA Cattle Dog Trials and Finals. And that's out at Bar None Cowboy Church. I've never been to one of those shows.
Bet you'd enjoy it.
Cattle Dog, that starts Friday at 8 a.m. and that runs all the way through Sunday. If you have more questions, call Randy Mooney at 421-0165 or Lois East at 660-525-0355.
Oh, Randy. Yeah.
And then Sunday the 8th is the Buddy Holly show out at the Shed, 2 p.m. Tickets are $35, so get on out there and watch the show.
Good show. How many different record labels did Buddy Holly appear on?
Oh, here we go again.
Yeah, I knew the quiz was so.
Coral and Brunswick, and then Decca, and then MCA.
Now, how far back does your musical expertise go? Where does it stop? About 1970, or do you go past the 70s?
A little bit past 70, yeah.
About 75, and then you shut it off right there?
When the record labels started changing, back in Buddy Holly's day, you had Capitol, RCA, Columbia, Mercury, and then you had a lot of smaller labels, like you had Swan Records, Jamie Records, and a lot of that was Philadelphia stuff that came out of
Sony came in there.
That's late. Sony picked up Columbia Records probably in the late 80s.
Okay.
But you had RCA Victor. You know, you want a thrill. I was in Studio B of RCA Victor a couple years ago. We're over at visiting my son, and a phone call came in and says, oh, well, let me ask her. And he asked, who's now his wife, said, need a voice track done at Belmont University. And, oh, yeah, we'll be up there, blah, blah, blah. I said, Dad, you want to go see a recording? I said, well, we really need to get going. He says, it's RCA Victor Studio B. I actually was leaning on the piano, and the guy said, you know where that piano came from? I said, no. He says, Elvis Presley brought that in 1967. But, you know, it's talking in this Willie Nelson and a lot of these stars of the past, and while Willie's still a big star right now, but to be in that same studio, that was quite an honor. Yeah, I've been right there at RCA Victor. Anyway, 7:13. Need to take a quick break. County Judge Mickey Pendergrass is going to be here, and I guarantee you, $18. With that, we'll be right back.
Do you know where your money goes when you give to charity? At the Salvation Army, 85 cents of every dollar stays to help those in need in our local community. Hi, I'm Captain Spaulding. The money we raise help people in the surrounding 5 counties, including Baxter, Marion, Sharp, Izzard, and Fulton. You can help by donating your unwanted items and by shopping at the Salvation Army store. Those in need get assistance with rent, utilities, sending kids to camp, and many other things. When it comes to this charity, the Salvation Army always helps those in our community.
Hi, I'm Ricky with Arch Trash Pickup. If anybody needs trash service in the area, please give us a call. Arch Trash Service is veteran owned, and I've been in the local area resident for over 20 years. I'll provide a better service than the other guys, and even provide front door service trash pickup for those that aren't able to take their trash to the curb. We'll also pick up almost anything and even provide free recycling. I am Ricky with Arch Trash Pickup, and please give me a call for all your trash service needs.
With a large showroom of over 13,000 square feet, the Furniture Depot is your local choice for quality name brand furniture at prices anyone can afford. They carry a great selection of catnapper recliners, power recliners with lumbar support, and lift chairs. Check out Furniture Depot's variety of living room and dining room sets in various styles and designs. And don't forget about their mattress gallery featuring Serta, Symbol mattresses, and adjustable beds. Family owned and operated, that's Furniture Depot, located in the Ozark Shopping Center in Mountain Home.
If you want the best breakfast or lunch in the Twin Lakes area, then you've got to come to the Old Time Restaurant. Voted the best breakfast and lunch for 2011, the Old Time Restaurant not only gives you the southern hospitality right when you walk in the door, they also offer scrumptious breakfast options to curb that early morning appetite. Or stop in later in the day for a tasty sandwich, salad, or a daily special. If a sweet tooth is your guilty pleasure, you can't go wrong with the pie lady cooking out over 30 different types of pies. That's the Old Time Restaurant, located on the square in Mountain Home.
Life is too short to wear boring clothes. Welcome to Shabby to Chic Salon and Boutique, where we carry the latest trends and fashions and accessories at prices anyone can enjoy. Feel beautiful while looking fabulous with a large range of fashions that fits anyone's sense of style. You're sure to discover something unique and new at every visit. Shabby to Chic also features 12 professional stylists, aesthetics by Amy J, a nail technician, and 4 tanning beds. Excite your style at Shabby to Chic Salon and Boutique in Mountain Home.
Your White River getaway starts at Cotter Trout Lodge, where you find convenient, clean, and affordable accommodations right in the heart of Cotter, Arkansas. Take advantage of the Natural State Fly Shop across the road for all your supplies and guided fly fishing needs. Countless delicious homemade menu options await to satisfy your hunger cravings at the White Sands Cafe. Your complete White River getaway is cradled in the east arm of the historic Ruthven Rainbow Bridge at the Cotter Trout Lodge, Natural State Fly Shop, and the White Sands Cafe.
(7:17) on this Tuesday, April 3rd. County Judge Mickey Pendergrass is here, and
Good morning. Beautiful day in Ozark.
Is that seat warming up, Mick?
Oh, Jerry had it in pretty good shape.
There you go. So you guys are in the news recently.
Yeah, I've been on the road too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, covering the district.
Well, we might as well skip the gristle, get down to the bone, and talk about this $18.
I don't know why that is. Everybody wants to talk about that.
Oh, you know how it is. They're just creatures of habit.
Yeah.
You know, what are we going to do?
We're going to pay $18
Until
when it's paid off.
2042?
Well, no, I don't think it'll go that far for the $18. It's estimated to be 19 to 20 right now, but nobody really knows because they haven't had a year's of revenue, and they're doing some adjusting. The receiver is looking because of some of the many legitimate complaints that came in onto the collector's office and assessor's offices, and he's been working with them. They've removed some things from that because of the way the county is set up to code tax bills. It picked up some stuff he didn't intend for it to pick up, like boat docks and boat slips and billboards and cell towers. And now they're looking at some multiple partial owners, such as agricultural land that has improvements on it. So there may be some more adjustment there. They're looking at that pretty closely now. So until they get a handle on how much the revenue it will develop in the 6-county region, they don't know. I've had discussions with a few people who are adamant, and the sad thing about this is, as upset people are, and I understand it because I have to pay this $18 5 times. But so I get that part of it. But when you ask a question and you get an answer, don't make an idiot out of yourself. Because the people like me who are answering the questions are answering them per the statute, per the court order. And if we don't follow in the county level a court order, we're going to be found in contempt of court, and who knows what. Because I asked that question before this ever came down, what's going to happen. But we'll deal with it. So that depending on the revenue, the way this thing is split up to pay back the obligations of the district, we figure about $19.20. Now there will be a $2 user fee that will continue till 30 years, would be 2048 at least, because what's going to happen, and something that's been missed in all this because of the uproar with $18, and rightfully so, but something that's been missed is the landfill is nearly completely closed. It's nearly It's been the overfill, the problems that have been the issue that caused a lot of this problem since 2003, actually 2002. They have all been fixed. The only thing they're waiting on now is the final seal cover on the biggest cell, the one that had the overfill in it, and it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% complete. And as we know, we've been in the monsoon season, so they've not been able to work lately, and because of the rainy days or mud days. But we expect that the ADEQ will pass the landfill back over the designated area, 200 to 250 acres, back over to the solid waste district, and we'll have to manage it for the next 30 years.
Okay,
that is another issue that was the problem when the people bought this thing.
Okay, let's go back. What started this mess? Did it start in 2002?
Yes.
Let's look at the chronological order of events. Go back through. We've got 8 minutes before we go to break, so we've got plenty of time. Let's start
Well, this timeline goes back 2009, but actually in 2002, and if you look at the minutes, and some of those have been FOIA, and I get copied as chairman of the district on those answers, RLH put the hauling service and the landfill up for sale in 2002. They had a bidder, and I think they had more than one, if I remember correctly, from a private industry to purchase this. And the powers that be that were on the board at the time, the ones that spoke the loudest, didn't want a private company, and I had somebody repeat the same story they told back then. If y'all recall, if you were here, we don't want a private company buying this and bringing trash in from St. Louis and Memphis and New York City and bringing it into our countryside. So they stopped the sale to the private company, and it was a large private company still doing business here locally. And they were in the business of managing landfills and hauling services. So they worked through 2003 and actually finalized the deal in 2004 for the solid waste district to purchase the hauling service and the landfill. And there were temporary bonds issued by Cruz and Associates to make the deal happen. And then the bonds that are under consideration now, they are permanent bonds, and they were not finalized until the third quarter of 2005. So that's why everybody goes to the 2005 date, because that's when the permanent bonds. But that's not when the problem started. The problem started back halfway through 2004. It was over. I was running for the Quorum Court along with a good friend of mine, Ed Toscano, who was really vocal at the time in 2004, wrote letters and advised those on the Quorum Court, advised the county judge at the time, and others, don't do this. This is not going to turn out well. We don't need to be in that business. And during my campaign, my first campaign for Quorum Court in 2004, I joined with Ed on that, and he was very intelligent and very sharp, but he turned out to be a really good prophet, because what he said would happen has actually happened. Going down, then they turned over the management of the landfill and the hauling service to the Northwest Economic Development District, which is a 9-county area, and actually they were the vehicle they used to buy it on the front end until they could get the bond sold and the district on it. So the 9 counties were originally involved, which added Madison, Washington, and Benton counties to the 6 counties that's in our solid waste
all the way
district.
over to Northwest Arkansas?
Yes, that's the Economic Development District. That was the vehicle that was used to purchase it, and then they were assigned a contract to manage it, and it did not go well. They went through some of the original people, and I'll hold off on calling all those names here, but I think a lot of people know who the players were at the time. Well, it's not going well, and it was going downhill, and they blamed it on the Economic Development District. And we discovered when I became judge in 2013, I became a board member of both the Economic Development District and the Ozark Solid Waste District, and things were not looking too good at the Economic Development District. And I just kept thinking, there's 28 members on that board from the 9-county area, and it got so bad that I wrote a letter in early 2014, took it to the board, had our state representative on board, and state senator was ready to deliver a letter, and asked for a legislative audit of the Economic Development District. And surprisingly, the board overwhelmingly approved and backed my efforts, because I told them I'm going to send this through my state representative and have this group audited. Well, that was 4 years after the Solid Waste District had taken over, and after the Solid Waste District had shut down operations, when Economic Development District had been the manager. So it was mismanaged, and the legislative audit found that, and found a lot of other issues there, which is another story that we could talk about a long time. But it was being mismanaged, and that's what everybody thinks now. And so by the time it come back to solid waste district, and the good management of the people they had there at the time, they were having to raise the tipping fees at the landfill, and so 4 of the 6 counties and some other people, about the only people that was hauling now to the landfill was Neighbors itself. Nobody else was hauling there because the fees had got to $42, and they were paying in Missouri and Oklahoma, they were paying $26. So it was easier to get there. The question came up, and it was a good question, and it's been a question of discussion over the years, is why they did not solidify in that contract the solid waste district to require all the members of that district to bring their trash here, because that's what would have kept it open and kept it operating and kept us from being in the situation we're in. And the answer to that question is it was in there. It wasn't real strong, but it was in the agreement. But an interlocal governmental agreement in a solid waste district in northern Arkansas does not supersede federal interstate commerce law. And when these people found out that they could take their, as one of them told me, they not only took it out of state, they took it out of the country because they were taking it to the Cherokee Nation, which is pretty much true. So they were taking it out of state, and so the contract to enforce them bringing it here would not happen, but state commerce law superseded it. So Marion and Baxter counties were the only ones bringing trash. Trash dropped down 40 to 50,000 tons a year, and it couldn't stand. And so in October, November of 2012, after the effort that was taken on by some to pass a sales tax in Baxter County to buy it failed, they closed the doors and stopped operations.
So how did we get hung with the $18 a month?
In the statute that was created in 1981, I think took effect in 1989, and took effect in 91, that created the solid waste district. The solid waste district and the board thereof is a creature of the General Assembly of the state of Arkansas. It is not controlled by quorum courts. It is not controlled by city councils or mayors or judges, except for the ones that sit on the board. That was in the statute, and they created these districts, and they created all the county judges in that district, and there's like 18 or 19 of these districts around Arkansas. And they allowed them in the statute to issue bonds, to go into debt, to operation, and there were certain things that was contained in the statute that they were to take care of, like cleaning up illegal dumps was the big thing back in the early 90s and late 80s. Taking care of what now has become a large part, the e-waste, the recycling, the hazardous waste, all those things were part of the, and still are, responsibility of the solid waste district. But they could also, to raise revenue to carry out all these programs, the statute allowed them to charge a user fee or a service fee for services offered. Didn't say you had to take it, it said for services offered in the solid waste district. So any service that we offered, the problem a lot of people have is they connect the user fee that's contained in statute to the ownership of an operation of a hauling service or a landfill, and they're not connected. The statute allowed them to have a user fee, and this board, even after I came on the board in 2013, had discussed the user fee. We were declined the ability to file for Chapter 9 bankruptcy because one of the reasons was because we did not charge all avenues of revenue to keep the district viable and to pay the bonds back, which are an obligation. So the statute allowed the board to go into debt, to issue bonds, and to issue this user fee. What the court did in 2000, starting in 2015, when the lawsuit happened, and then in January, February of last year, 2017, they accepted the receiver's report and took that statute and charged the user fee that was the responsibility of the board of directors of the solid waste district. And that's why it's called that. They nor the judge, the board nor the judge, has the ability to issue a tax. But they do, because they offer all the services I mentioned and more, they do have the power given to them by the legislature of the state of Arkansas to issue a user fee to keep the programs going. The Baxter Day Service Center over here on the south side of town is partly funded by grants that come through and issued to the district, and they're granted out to all the recycling centers in all 6 counties. They oversee the tire waste collections, and though we all pay a fee when we buy tires, there is more money goes to that ADQ reimburses the operation because we have to handle the deposition of those, getting rid of those tires, and we have contracts with Champlin Tire to do that throughout the whole district. But that's the district's responsibility, and that costs money. And all the things that we do cost money. We have a director of those operations. She's been there since 2009, and that was her main focus. She had nothing to do with the landfill, nothing to do with neighbors until I came on the board and closed its doors, ceased operations, and all people at that time. And bless their hearts, that we had some good employees there that kept it open for 2 years longer than it should have been. They squeezing, what is it, out of a lemon, Jerry?
What, blood out of a turnip?
Yeah, they did that for 2 years. Because this transfer of ownership and the attempt for Baxter, Marion, and Mountain. And anyway, that I've said a lot.
Why don't we take a break and let you rest
a little
for a
bit of
minute?
history and drink some more of this
Brewed Awakening
non-muddy water?
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break. More with Baxter County Judge Mickey Pendergrass right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Family-owned dental practice. Diatley grew up in the Twin Lakes area and are proud to serve the community. With modern treatment methods and state-of-the-art technology, they are dedicated to providing exemplary care to patients of all ages. Our compassionate team consistently receives training above and beyond the standard of care.
We're changing the way you see dentistry.
Come be a part of our dental family.
Have you ever noticed every time you wash your car, you end up wetter than the actual car? Next time, run down to Car Care and let the friendly staff put a smile on your face. Car Care of Mountain Home has a variety of services to clean your vehicle's needs, inside, wash and shine to their outstanding detailed services. Low 5 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. Stop by Car Care Mountain Home today, because driving a clean car always makes you feel good.
You've tried medications just cover up the pain, and you've tried dieting to help lose weight. Before you try something drastic like surgery to get rid of the numbness and tingling, why don't you try a better approach to health? Hi, I'm Dr. Charles Osgood, and at Mountain Home Family Chiropractic, we heal the whole person the natural way.
At Mountain Home Family Chiropractic, take a hands-on approach to chiropractic care, massage therapy, and nutritional counseling. Our 20 years of service has led to successful results.
When I come in to see Dr. Osgood, sometimes after one adjustment, I have immediate relief. It takes 4 or 5 adjustments.
I recommend Mountain Home Family Chiropractic because it really works and keeps me pain-free.
Mountain Home Family Chiropractic supports the community by donating to Mountain Home Food Basket and the Lions Club. Request an appointment with us today at Mountain Home Family Chiropractic. Excellence for your body and frame alignment.
Hello, I'm Charles Ferguson. Here at Mountain View Chevrolet, we still do business the old-fashioned way with honesty and integrity. And we have a good inventory of new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs from large to small. Our service department has all GM certified technicians, and our friendly salespeople are ready and eager to fit a car truck to your needs in a price range you can afford. We also have a lot full of pre-owned cars and trucks, program and new car trade-ins to choose from. So come see us at Mountain View Chevrolet.
$7:34 on this Tuesday morning. We are visiting with Baxter County Judge Mickey Pendergrass, and of course the $18 service fee is our topic.
User fee.
User fee. Sorry about that. Is this legal? And my main question is why is the people of these few counties having to pay for the next 20, 30, 40 years the mistake of a few elected and non-elected people? What can we do to fight this legally? Can we file a suit and challenge that either in the Court of Appeals or the Supreme Court?
I'm not an attorney, and I can't give you a legal opinion, and I would refer to you to a circuit judge in Pulaski County, Arkansas, says it is, because he placed the order. He assigned a receiver, a guy who specializes in bankruptcy-type courts and filings and for all sides, and he worked on this solution. And what they say and what the court ruled, and it goes back to the court, and the only way I think is that you can get it a legal opinion of this is get it in front of the Supreme Court if that's possible. I don't know what the efforts, because the district was
Would it take an
broke.
individual?
Yes, taxpayers.
So if each taxpayer involved were to get an attorney, pay for deposition or whatever it takes, and file this as a private lawsuit against who? The counties or the economic district or the waste committee?
I don't know. A good attorney would have to answer that question where that'll go, because the lawsuit, when it happened, was against the district.
Yeah.
And when the lawsuit came against the district and the court found in favor of the plaintiffs, the district had no money to fight it, and actually the board voted to take no position on and I was on the board when that vote was taken, but we voted to take no position because we didn't have the revenues wherewith to fight this or to appeal it. So the district then, through our legal representation, became a part of the agreement to get the best deal we could get, because that's all we could do. I don't know what the cost is. I don't know what the avenue is. I know there's some people out there that's talking about that. Some has made some offers, and it may happen. But in my personal opinion, it's a constitutional question. Now, let me separate two things. I also personally think that the only constitutional question of this is the repayment of the bonds. Because ADEQ, by the statute and by the funding of state law that allowed them to use their super trust fund, landfill closure trust fund, and by the way, they've got over 100 of them to close in the state. I was told that by their people. So they've got a big job ahead of them, so that's why that has to be in there. But the same statute allowed them to dip into their funds to close this landfill, allows them to collect it and get repaid. Interest-free, but they're by state statute allowed to get their money back. So the constitutional question...
But their money is taxpayer money.
No, it's not.
Where's it coming from?
It comes from the fees that's collected to landfills and from the haulers. And it goes
the tipping
in,
fees?
Yeah, there is a percentage of the money that comes through the district that's collected. We collect a $2 fee for all the trash hauled out of this district, and most all the districts collect up to the $2 is the max you can charge, but most all the districts collect some form or fashion of that fee. ADEQ gets a certain percentage of that. This is not money that's coming out of the state budget. It is appropriate. It has to be appropriate by the legislature, but it is a fund that is built up from all the waste haulers and all the landfills. So when you pay your landfill bill, when you pay your trash bill, the hauler has to pay the districts, which has to share that money with ADEQ, and that's where this fund came from. And it had over $20 million in it. But the statute that allowed them to use this to close the landfill and spend what we estimate now to be just under $16 million also says that they will be reimbursed some form of fashion. Now, this is what would have happened from the sources that I've talked to. If that law did not exist, and Senator Johnny Key helped us get that done in 2013 to use that fund, ADEQ would have cleaned it up and billed us 6 counties. I don't have to tell you or anybody else how tight the budgets are in the county government and the services that we offered, and we can't pay another $1.5 to $2 million a year to pay this bill back, whatever that bill would have cost. Or if they give us a lump sum and say, hey, 6 counties by population only, you owe us $16 million, we expect to be paid by the end of the year. It would have bankrupted all the counties. So the ADEQ is going to get their money back. So the constitutional question then comes, is it right for a user fee to be used to pay back the bondholders. By the way,
But
all,
no, we,
all,
the people,
all
didn't
the,
vote
all
on the
interest-
bonds.
No, you don't. You don't have anything to say about the bonds. Neither does the quorum courts. That's all in the hands of the Solid Waste District. Did all that on their own.
Is that legal?
Yes, it is allowed by statute. The judge said in the court order that these bonds are an obligation, and it says in the statute that if the district has an obligation, it has to be repaid. This is the only avenue of revenue that, outside of the permitting fees that it gets and the tipping fees it gets, is the only way to raise this money is to issue this user fee. So that's why the court, and we go back to that's where this come from. The judge ruled, and he says it's legal because he put it in his court order. And until it's challenged and gone to a higher level,
It stands.
It's
So
the
is this
court
a
order.
tax?
I mean,
Is this a tax?
no.
Then why, if
It's
we
a user fee to be paid back the obligations of the solid district.
But if
solid
we
waste
refuse to pay the $18, then it comes out of the tax.
district.
we pay.
Again, that goes back to the court order. The
Yeah.
court order says that when a collector receives the payment from off the tax bills, because the county tax collector bills are the vehicle they chose to use and the most logical choice to use to get it to all the taxpayers in the city or in the counties. Says that $18 will be sent to the trustee before the tax bill is paid. So if you hold your $18 back, you still owe $18 in tax when the collector gets through following the court order, or since she sends it over to the treasurer sends it to the trustee per the directions of the court order. So it's the judges on the same order that ordered the issue says that it will be paid first and foremost before anything else is paid.
So it sounds like that judge has overruled the basis of our, is this real estate or personal property tax?
Real
estate tax.
And see, that's another question. I think the legislature in 1989 and leading up to the development of these solid waste districts put this in the statute to allow the districts to be able to operate and to run the services. And the illegal dumps still a problem in some degrees, but it was a huge problem, and that's what they were looking at.
Huh.
But they didn't write the statute to allow us to put it on personal property tax, because that way, if you did that, in my mind, if you could have done that, that would have been the trash producers. That's who it should be paying the fee, because you got thousands and thousands of people that's renting property don't pay any real property tax. So the multiple property owners especially are going to be paying the bill. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of, in people's mind, and I don't disagree with this, matter of fact I agree with a lot of it, there's a lot of inequities in the system where you have a large corporation that has one building and one tax parcel. They pay one $18 fee.
Like Walmart.
Then you got somebody like spoke up in the meeting the other day, has 19 tax parcels, 15 of them have the fee on it, and it's mostly farmland. So and then
Goodness.
people that had a boat dock, and that's been removed, but people that had a boat dock on it got two fees. They got the boat dock and they got their house. So it's a real property owners, because the boat docks are an improvement on your tax bill. But it has to have an improvement on it that it is that specific. So if you've got land that has no improvement on it, it should not have the fee if it is a separate tax parcel.
Wow. 7:43.5. Scooter, let's go ahead and take that break. More with the county judge right after this.
Why would I recommend Hospice of the Ozarks? Because I know the people that work there, I know their hearts, and I know that their desire is to help people with the suffering and the anxiety and the things that can come with either terminal diagnosis or a terminal condition. We want them to have a peace of heart and to have a comfort and to know that someone's there to help them through that so they can enjoy the time that they have.
Coming in 2018, VHF Archery Range, brought to you by DeerHunterFan.com TV and Steadyform. This 10,000 square foot indoor climate-controlled archery range will feature 3D targets, 3D pop-up, and state-of-the-art video shooting. VHF Archery Range will be open to the public and available for all ages. It's a great facility for hunters and archers alike and located in the center of the Ozarks in beautiful Bull Shoals, Arkansas. That's DHF Archery Range, coming in 2018. Keep on the lookout for more details and their grand opening announcement soon. More than just propane, Reeves Propane provides you full-service propane delivery as well as tank and piping installation. We are your dependable choice, offering the very best in personal service with on-time deliveries and competitive prices. Reeves Propane also sells and installs tankless water heaters and appliances and can even convert your gas cook stove to liquid propane. So no need to fuss and cuss about bad service. Call us at Reeves Propane. We greatly appreciate your business and God bless. You already know that Ferris mowers are the only mowers on the market with a patented spring suspension system, saving you time in the seat, less back stress, and a professional even cut every time. You already know that Mower Warehouse is the only area dealership that will accept your mower trade-in. But did you know that a truckload of discounted 2017 models just arrived at Mower Warehouse, allowing you the pleasure of saving hundreds of dollars on your next mower purchase of a new Ferris or Simplicity zero-turn machine? Come check out the parking lot sale at Mower Warehouse, located on Buzzard Roost in Mountain Home.
Coming up on 746, and I appreciate the dialogue here concerning the $18. You know, I think, well, it's only $18, but you think about it, and it adds up. You know,
it does.
You know, and so I can understand why people are disappointed, and I think a lot of it has to do with, well, it's not a tax, it's a service fee, but, you know, it's...
And that makes people upset, and I understand that. I don't want to pay it either, but I want to keep my place, and I don't want to have owe taxes. In my position, I better not be owing taxes because somebody will make a highlight out of it. But I make a highlight reel, you know. But and my tax bill's plenty high enough with the business my wife owns. But it's not a good deal. But the fight. I hope people understand something that I have helped come out in some of these meetings that I've attended. One of the 15 board members that I serve with on the Solid Waste Board was there through all this. The rest of us, one came in 2009. The rest of us came after 2013. There were some that came in 2013, including myself, and there's some that have come since. So the majority of the Solid Waste Board right now, the mayors and the judges, have all come on board, and some of them don't have a clue what this is about. They're getting quite an education. They have some challenges in their election over this issue when they don't even know what it is, and they haven't done the background. Where when you come from Baxter County, you kind of have to be hid in the woods and you didn't know about what was going on here. And that's been frustrating to me. Mr. Treese, who is the receiver, made this comment a couple of times, and including here in Mountain Home, that he hindsight's always 20/20, and he'd wished he'd had these meetings before the tax bills came out, and I'm thinking that wouldn't have done any good. I had 12 town halls last year around the area throughout Baxter County, and we talked about it at every single one of them. Every one of them. If the people did not ask the question, because the court order had already been issued in February of last year, and it incited questions from people, and I dealt with them as much as I could at the time. And now the people from some of the same communities are upset about it because they didn't know about it. And that's frustrating for people like me who tried to tell you this is coming, this is what's happening, this is what you ought to be looking for, and then you not know about it when it happens. So I think Mr. Treese, I appreciate the thought that he wished he'd had them, but nobody would have showed up. Until it hit the mail and it was on your tax bill and you got it, it really didn't sink in what we were talking about. And I understand that, but when it showed up on there, that's when the fire got lit up, and I fully expected it because I didn't like it either.
I'm gonna ask a stupid question. If I own a house, Baxter County, Mountain Home, Arkansas, and I decide I'm not going to pay that real estate tax, and I don't send the check into Teresa, how long does it take before it goes to land commissioner?
The local tax collector tries for 2 years to collect the delinquent taxes when you do that. Then she turns it over to the land commissioner of the state of Arkansas, and he tries, or she, whoever it is, happens to be a he right now and will be next time, he tries to collect it for 2 years. If it's not paid for and collected, and of course you got penalty and interest building during this whole time period through these 4 years, on the 5th year it appears on the land commissioner's auction site, and it's going to sell The designated site, and every county has one every year. Ours has been, the last few years, has been out at our beautiful library, and before that they were held at the courthouse. But they sell those properties, and if somebody buys it, they have to be aware that if there's any other liens like a mortgage or whatever else is against it before they go to paying too much for it. But it has to satisfy the tax bill. And we have a large number of properties, but the vast majority of them from 2 or 3 different locations.
So we could actually withhold the tax for up to 4 years and hold it from the county. So if everybody in the solid waste district withheld their tax, you still have 4 years to pay it back, plus interest.
You're not going to withhold a user fee. That's what the court order says. The judge made sure that we at the county level are required, if you pay a dime, it's going to pay that $18 first. If you don't pay anything, that's a good question.
If nobody writes a check for next 4 years in these solid waste districts and over start starving these counties and nobody's getting any money, I still got 4 years plus interest to pay that off just to punish the judge for doing what
Well,
he
you're
did.
going to punish a lot more than
true.
counties. What you're going to do is
Yeah.
break the schools. Because the 80 to 85%
Well, maybe
of
that'd
your,
wake somebody up in
80 to
Pleasant
85% of your
County
property, yeah, about 85% of your property tax supports your school.
Yeah.
It doesn't support the county. The city gets a little bit, the county gets a little bit, the library, the ASU, what else is on? Fire departments.
Oh, yeah.
But the schools get the vast majority of it, depending on where you live, where it's 80% or 85%.
Anyway, you've got an election said coming up, and you got.
Yeah, we do have a primary now, but everybody be aware too, we are in a monsoon season. Last year at the end of April we got a flood, and some
They're
places
still cleaning up in Missouri.
we're still cleaning up here in places because it's just like the ice storm of '09. You never get clean. It takes years to get cleaned up in those things.
Yeah.
But be aware of all the rain that's going on. There is a primary election on May the 22nd. It's been kind of a quiet season for some reason. There's not a lot of races, but pay attention to that as well. You have a primary in the governor's race, primary in Secretary of State's, primary in a couple of JP races, my race, and somebody else.
Lucy.
But, there's a couple of constable, maybe. But, yeah, District 2, District 7
And
have
Aaron.
primaries. And
Quorum court tonight.
quorum court meeting is tonight. It's a very short agenda. It's normal household cleaning up items, like moving money around in the sheriff's office or appropriate money that's been donated, and then moving some money around the juvenile services
Speaking
office.
of which, that tax was kicked off on Sunday.
What tax?
The sales tax didn't it kick off on Sunday?
Yes, it started the 1% to raise the money for the construction of the jail. We can talk about that, but also the last thing on the agenda tonight is the quorum court. We have written a resolution in opposition to the collection of the $18, so that's on the quorum courts. The quorum court wanted it on there, and they made that very plain last month, so we got a resolution on there for tonight.
Good.
The jail construction, we're in the middle of, we're waiting on engineer plans to be finalized right now. We're getting close. We hope to go to bid at the end of May, 1st of June, so we're getting very close to that. The 1% sales tax, with the folks so graciously helped us with, will run for 6 months, and it'll be mostly, if not enough, to build the project next year. Sometime next year we'll be finished with it, but we are in the planning stages and working hard with that. And then the first of the year, so this tax will drop off October, and then in January a quarter cent starts, and that'll fund it from that day going forward.
And that'll loosen up.
It'll help the county and the operation of all of county government, and the ability to probably have more ability to keep our good employees without them having to move on to make more money. We'll be a little more competitive with their salaries, hopefully, because of that. Plus, we'll have the better operation of the jail, and it can be operated like it needs to be. There's always shortfalls and needs, but we work within what the people have given us and have operated that budget for the last 5 years. And sometimes you wonder, it's a struggle, but we do work within those confines. What else is we got? Lots of things, a lot of work going on around the courthouse. If you noticed, we had a severe leaks in the basement.
I started to say it looked
About
like
a year
waterproofing.
ago. Yeah, about a year ago. It wasn't a big bad storm. It was the storm before that. It was just a little over a year ago from today. and we had some records damaged and some other things, a lot of water leaking into the basement. So we finally got the contractor, and they're trying to finish, if this rain will slow down enough, new waterproofing the south wall and replacing the window wells, which are concrete for the basement, and hopefully we'll keep that water out of the clerk's records and the offices down there, because we have a lot of land records, and there's a lot of good stuff, a lot of important stuff in that basement of the courthouse. And we've done a lot of work on that courthouse in the last 2-3 years, and got more to go. With the roof, the mantles out front, and some of the bricks, and we had to replace. They were about to fall off, and then we had to have some stucco work done on the inside, especially in the staircases. That's done. And so there's a lot of work. As we can get grant money or find a little extra money somewhere, we're trying to restore that old building, because it's been there since 1944.
Really?
And so it takes a lot of work. It's a well-built old building, but it's been there a while.
1944.
Mm-hmm. Boy. And we're in charge of taking care of it, and we're doing our best to do that.
So it was built during the war.
Yeah, it was. It was under contract before the war broke out, and they went in and finished it, just like they did the Norfolk Dam. It was built during the war too.
7:56. Final thoughts.
Well,
got about 4 or 5 minutes.
As I'm in and out of the office, as anybody has questions on this or other issues, don't leave a message there. I will get back to you, as much as I've been on the road quite a bit, especially with this solid waste issue. But I do have another job to do and take care of a lot of other things. We've got a lot of planning going on. The summer come up. We're going to have a lot of road work coming in. We finally got the County Road 37 in the north part of the county done. It kept going on and on and on, and people are really proud of it, as we are. But we've got a lot of that coming on, so it is that type of year. Be careful for all the road crews.
What was it? Denton Ferry had a lot of damage last year during the flood. County Road 1.
It had a bridge knocked out.
Yeah.
And we've got the bridge back to 2 lanes, and we're going to, hopefully when this weather clears, we're going to get the asphalt back on it, but we're not rebuilding the current structure. At this time, we're trying to get a clear span bridge to handle the water flow there, because what we have, according to the hydrology study, it'll handle about 2 to 3% of a major flood. And so about every 2 years, something that happens to that bridge. We want to get a clear span in there that'll handle at least 25%, and we get that water on into the White River and not lose a road, because there's a lot of houses now up that river, and that is the only way they know to go in and out.
Yeah.
And that bridge goes out, they're stuck. They have to go out. And we're working on a grant on the road on the upper side of it, to not only to help the occupants getting out, but to stop the sandbar being built in the White River, which is damaging the river. We're trying to stop that too. But a lot of things will be going on, especially as we begin our late spring and summer. If you have questions, call.
Scooter, Jerry?
No comment. I hear a lot of chatter about, this current administration that we have is in any way at fault to what happened. It's not. This is a problem that happened
This is an inherited
years
issue
ago, and it's trying to get resolved at this point. So.
Yeah, that's not anything I'd wish on anybody, and I think that if I could have got started earlier, we would have stopped this, and it would have been sold, and a private company would have owned it, and it would have fixed it. But hindsight, there's a lot of things we wished we could have done. They had a lot of opportunities to do the right thing, and they had full. Everybody who was responsible for the situation we're in had good intentions. Mm-hmm. And they thought they could handle it. It just didn't work out. It wasn't a viable solution, and though they tried, it just didn't work out that way.
Anyway, I got a message coming up. Prayer for the community this Sunday, 2 to 3 o'clock, Real Life Church, and we've had some issues in Baxter County, just some suicides and things going on, and it's prayer for our community. Real Life Church this Sunday, 2 to 3 at Real Life over just off the bypass there.
And it is the beginning of spring fishing season. A lot of tournaments going on the lakes here And this next week, all the Bass-Cattle people will be in from all over the country.
Good.
They're here now, and they will
Welcome,
be fishing,
welcome.
or they'll be coming in. There's a big tournament this weekend, and then Bass-Cattle will be April 13th and 14th. And they always bring a lot of people to town. So
And they spend
wave
lots of
and
money.
be smiling, and they spend their dollars here. They're wonderful people. Come
And with
all
that-
across the country.
With that, we'll say thanks to County Judge for being here, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you for having me.